Welcome to another edition of AFL Today. I'm your host, E-Money. Today we're breaking down Week 17 in review and, of course, our playoff preview. Everything we've been waiting for here. Real quick, let's hand out some congratulations here. Dallas with the new single-season wins and loss record going 15-1, and they're happy about that, but they're most happy realizing they have locked in home playoffs, so the road to New Orleans at Arena Bowl 21 will go through Dallas. Also, on the leaner side of things, Grand Rapids Rampage have let go of Sparky McEwen for a second stint coaching-wise with the Grand Rapids Rampage, and they are, again, in search of a new head coach, trying to bounce back from these few lean years that they had after winning their Arena Bowl championship. All right, folks, we're going to be crowning the All Money Team Players of the Week. We're going to be talking a little bit of Week 17 in review and, of course, our playoff preview. So big stuff coming up. Here we go. All right, folks, here we go. Week 17 in review. Again, lots of games going on. Most of them had really no impact, so we're just going to talk about the games that really impacted the playoff picture. Of course, we had really four teams battling for spots, so let's talk about the big game, I think, of the week was Columbus taking a trip to New York, battling for a playoff spot, and Columbus came up huge, 74-43. I think Columbus finally responded here. Coach K's got to be happy about this momentum now going in the playoffs. And we'll talk about who Columbus has to face. On the other side with the Dragons, Wayland, head coach there, was kind of interesting on some of the post-game reports and some of the stuff on Dragon TV. And you could tell it was a little bit emotional and just still in shock there, I guess, that the way things played out. But nonetheless, a lot of the Dragons are optimistic for next year. And they have the tools in place. They just got to put it together. I think the whole delayed Aaron Garcia coming back really caused a lot of challenges. So we'll see what the Dragons can put together for the 08 campaign. All right, folks, let's talk about the next game with really the most playoff implications. The Blaze take a trip to Los Angeles, and LA could have knocked the Blaze out for good. Unfortunately, LA turned in the worst performance of the year, although I've talked with some other colleagues, and they said LA stunk it up pretty bad in Chicago, but I think this was by far the worst performance of the year. And it was interesting because not only was Sonny Cumbie off, but they put in Tyler Hicks back up, and again, the tips and all that just seemed to go the way of the Blaze. And there's something magical about Danny White in the Staples Center. And again, this is the worst news for LA Avengers fan because, of course, now because of the way things turned out, LA has to play the Blaze again in the Staples Center. And so, again, Danny comes home to the Staples, and we just hope that the real Sonny Cumbie shows up next week for that playoff preview. But LA's in a heap of trouble. They really need some help on the defensive side of the ball. There's a few players on there that just don't seem to know how to play the position, or they're confused on the calls or whatnot. But LA needs some help on the secondary. I think Bethea was hurt. That didn't do so well for LA, so they need the secondary to come up and play strong if LA's going to get that first elusive playoff win. Blaze on the other side, I mean, you can't stop these guys. I mean, Sia Burley, of course, played one time for the Avengers, and he's there to light them up every time, and they just did not have an answer for him. So Danny White, look for more of the same. Just throw it to Sia Burley and hope LA falls apart again. All right, folks, let's talk about playoff preview here, game number 2, and we're going into Orlando is going to take a trip to Philly. Now, here's an interesting position. Orlando, again, started off kind of slow, came back midway through, and then towards the end of this year, they're playing a little inconsistent, and now they're forced to go to Philly for a playoff game. And I think Grazi's going to take it to them. I think Orlando's looking to repeat the magic from last year, where they kind of came in the playoffs, no one really. And lo and behold, they took down Dallas and went all the way to the big game. But for this one, I think this is time for Grazi's time to shine. Obviously, they got past the first round last year, and anything less than that is going to be failure. So I think Grazi's ready. I think he's healthy. I think this team is, again, came up with a big win in Week 17, so a little momentum. So I look for Philly to have the home field advantage and take care of Orlando early. All right, folks, let's talk about the next playoff preview game. Columbus, as we alluded to, takes a trip to Tampa Bay. Tampa's now the 3rd seed after starting 0-5, if you can believe that. For Columbus, I think it really comes down to Coach K, and this is his proving grounds here. Again, you guys missed the playoffs last year, just barely. Now you're in it. You got a good quarterback, Matt Nagy. We got Damian Gross and got some solid speedster guys, some guys with great hands on that team. It's time to make plays and do what we pay you to do. and I think Columbus will come out victorious. On the other side, Tampa, I think Tampa Bay is the most dangerous team right now. You look at this roster, other than the quarterback Dietz, the rookie, they got some solid vets on this team on both sides of the ball, especially on offense. You got weapons like Terrell Shaw, you got Lawrence Samuels, you got Torrance Marshall, who is doing a great imitation of Dan Alexander, getting in the end zone when he's running the ball. So Tampa's a very dangerous team. However, I don't see how far they're going to get with the inexperienced quarterback. That's just my take, but we'll see. As you know, Tim Markham has proved me wrong many times before. All right, folks, next game on the playoff docket here. Let's talk about Colorado takes a trip to Kansas City. And we talked about last week, Colorado, and again, it was interesting that Elway on Monday night talked about the same thing. Hey, we started off poorly, we got hot, and now we're playing poorly again. And you don't want to go in the playoffs losing your last 4 games. And I think it all really comes down to John Dutton. I think it's amazing how the defense, again, when Dutton's doing bad, the defense seems to do bad as well. And he is the key to this franchise. Now, you can't be too mad at him. He's already won you an Arena Bowl ring, so there's a little bit of slack there. But Dutton has not been playing well, and he needs to turn it around. So I think for KC in this game, it really just depends on which John Dutton shows up. If the Arena Bowl champion John Dutton shows up, there's nothing KC can do. On the other side of the ball, KC, Raymond Filial's got playoff experience. He's been 1 game away from the Arena Bowl many times, and I think he's looking to turn things around in Kansas City and say, hey, this is the year that we break through. They got solid defense over there. They have, again, great offense with Filial. Don't have superstar receivers, but I think they can get it done. And my nod is towards KC. I don't think Dutton's got it all together, and I think KC's going to pull away this one at the hangar, and we'll see how they do in the second round. All right, folks, before we get to the all-money team players of the week, we are going to get to real quick our bye-week teams here. And, of course, Georgia and Dallas are going to be hanging out in their living rooms and watching how things transpire. They've definitely earned it. And I was wrong in the past couple weeks. I thought Dallas locked up home field a long time ago, but Georgia kept winning. And again, it forced Dallas to play strong all 16 weeks, which I think they're glad they did. And so again, Dallas and Georgia are just going to hang out. San Jose and Chicago on the other side of things, they're hanging out. San Jose is playing very great football right now, and Chicago as well. Scipio's back fully healthy. These guys are dominating, so I think they're just kind of licking their chops, seeing who they get to play. But all right, folks, now let's move on to the all-money team players of the week. All right, folks, here we go. All-money team, not players of the week, but we're talking players of the year. I'm going to crown them. Again, all-money team, here we go. Let's start with the Ironman position. I already called it for the last 3 or 4 or 5 shows. Will Pettis, gotta hand it to you. He's got, I believe, 46 TDs, 1,400-something yards. 130 receptions. I mean, this guy is amazing. Again, we've talked about him forever, so no surprise here. Will Pettis, I am crowning you all-money team all year, and we'll see if the league agrees and hands you that Iron Man of the Year award. All right, let's talk about on the offensive side of the ball, Dan Alexander. No surprise here. Some people say, well, you got to give it to Dozell, and that may be true, but Dan Alexander's got an 80% red zone efficiency. And again, that is a game changer alone. This guy's got 42 TDs, I believe. He's got something like, 400-something yards rushing, which is amazing. Usually you go over 100 yards, and that's pretty exciting. So Dan has really kind of redefined that running back position. Him and Torrance over there in Tampa, those two guys are really starting to say, hey, you need someone like this coming in the red zone. So, again, Dan is my offensive player, all-money team player of the year. Got to hand it off to you, Dan. And now let's go on the defensive side of the ball. And here's a name, I think pretty much the league's going to go ahead and give it to Greg White, but I'm giving it to Colston Weatherington. Here's a guy that, again, got great numbers for sacks, got 10 sacks, but here's a guy that gets his paws up, blocking passes, disrupting. Again, here's the key in arena football. You don't have to get a sack to disrupt the quarterback. You put some decent pressure, get able to move, or you get your hands up, get some tip passes. And those tip passes go a long way. The quarterback starts thinking about, okay, I can't look this way. And he's a guy that is a major disruption and major distraction. And I think he is one of the biggest keys to why Dallas is doing so well. And again, the defense feeds off the offense and vice versa. So I'm going with Colston Weatherington, my all-money team player of the year. Congratulations. All right, folks, that wraps up this edition of AFL Today. Stay tuned next week as we break down the playoffs and continue all the way to New Orleans for Arena Bowl 21. I'm Evan Money. God bless, everybody.